Hi everybody, thank you very much for joining us, and before I go any further, thanks to 5 Star Marine, our sponsors, for their ongoing support. If you are heading to Phuket, like I am today, then make sure you contact 5 Star Marine if you'd like to head out on a private tour to one of the islands. Chumpon, as you can see, a bit misty this morning. It's a funny little town about halfway between Bangkok and Phuket, and it's on the Gulf of Thailand, even though the main road going past Chumpon is about 20 kilometres inland. But it's got coastal beaches. You don't really sort of understand quite why Chumpon hasn't hit the tourist map yet. I understand it's more popular with Thais than it is with foreigners. Maybe it's sort of an up-and-coming location for foreigners sometime in the future. I don't know. Anyway, let's get on with today's news. So I just thought I'd start today just with a bit of a recap on where we are with this whole vaccination certificates and COVID health insurance and all that. At the moment, officially, you can just arrive back in Thailand without COVID vaccination certificates. The only impediment, it seems, is that if you are if you're heading back to a country that requires PCR tests on your arrival, you may be asked to have COVID-19 insurance. Now, they're saying that if you arrive in Thailand without insurance and that you are meant to have it, that you'll be given the opportunity to buy it here in Thailand. So other than having your bank card in your pocket, I probably wouldn't be worried about anything else. Having said all that, I'd probably bring your vaccination certificates if you have them. Bring any other medical evidence that you've either had COVID or you haven't. Just be prepared. And that's probably just being a good scout more than anything else. So really, Thailand is sort of completely open again after a week of total confusion. And I do need to thank the Public Health Minister sincerely for the best traffic I've ever had on TNT. His fine work with the decriminalisation of cannabis and now with this new regulations for people coming back to Thailand, which have since basically all been removed in 5 or 6 extremely confusing steps, has given me fantastic traffic. So thank you for tuning in. If you're a new watcher, we do this 5 times a week. Mostly we speak about relatively mundane Thai news, but it has been quite exciting over the past week, and it's been exhausting for me trying to keep up to date and making phone calls each day, trying to find out exactly what's going on. But essentially, Thailand is open. You can come. Everybody's welcome to have you here, including this little hotel. Well, let's get on with today's other stories. And I suppose we start with a series of stories which could generally be described as officials behaving badly. Let's go to this first one, and cops in crosshairs over delayed sobriety test. And the police are facing a public backlash due to speculation they deliberately delayed conducting an alcohol test on a Bentley driver who later tried to flee the scene. The results, which were made public yesterday, showed him to be below the legal limit. So, of course, the longer you leave a sobriety test, a drink driving test, alcohol blood test, the lower your alcohol to blood ratio is going to be. So the allegation here is that they sort of delayed things or just dillied around until his alcohol level dropped. Now, the driver of the Bentley, Mr. Sutat, is accused of hitting a Mitsubishi Pajero, and the Bentley hit the Pajero in the middle lane, causing the car to overturn before it was struck by an oncoming vehicle in the right side lane. 5 passengers were inside the Pajero, including a 4-year-old child. All 6 were injured, but there was no loss of life. If there was loss of life, this whole matter would, of course, be ramped up much, much quicker. Mr. Sutat, who was driving the Bentley, exited the vehicle, walked down the expressway, hailed a cab in an apparent bid to flee the scene, according to some of the first responders. Some of them followed him and demanded the taxi send him to a nearby police station. A bottle of wine was found inside the Bentley, and Mr. Sutat, according to responders, appeared intoxicated, but he refused to take a breathalyzer test, claiming he had chest pains. Sorry about that. Due to the airbag inflating at the time of the incident, he agreed to take a blood test instead. Police claimed the test happened within an hour of the incident, but a source who declined to be named said the test had not been carried out until at least 4 hours after the crash. And netizens are speculating that the police who have been trying to help him clear his name as the driver is a wealthy businessman. Apparently, he serves as a board member for at least 7 companies. He also makes significant financial contributions to a political party. So in the current political atmosphere, as we're sort of warming up to a election campaign, this story certainly is going to be a hot topic in Thai social media today. And just finally, in response to the public outpouring, Deputy Commissioner, spokesperson for the Metropolitan Police, said the police have already charged Mr Sutat with reckless driving causing injury to others and their assets, and drunk driving because he refused to be breathalyzed. So that's police behaving badly, or officials behaving badly, number 1. Let's go to number 2 today. And this from the Bangkok Post. Officials slow to give statements in National Park's chief graft case. And only 3 of the 15 officials summoned by police to give statements in the bribery case against the National Park's chief have so far responded. And it seems that the Anti-Corruption Commission yesterday said that if need be, investigators would go to their offices and question the other officers there during the working hours. Those 12 would each be sent a second summons if they failed to respond. Investigators may have to go to the offices where they would be working to quiz them there. Police would also examine their offices. So that's a clear threat, of course. These people don't want investigators fossicking around their drawers. Meanwhile, envelopes found in Mr Ratchadar's office, so he's the chief of the national parks who's under investigation. The envelopes were found containing cash with the names of officials on the outside of them, and they'd be taken for fingerprinting and DNA testing. Mr Ratchadar was arrested at his office on December the 27th on suspicion of demanding or taking bribes from subordinates and malfeasance in office. He was released on bail, offering 400,000 baht cash as surety, and an envelope containing 98,000 baht used as a police sting was found during his arrest, and other envelopes containing a total of 4.9 million baht. My goodness, that's a lot of envelopes with a lot of cash. And there's a bit of a picture there of some of the envelopes, some of the money found in nice clear 1,000 baht notes. So our second case there of police and officials behaving badly. Now we go to our third one, and we head off to Patong in Phuket. And this story from First Post, and it says, holiday gone wrong. British man claims he was tortured in a Thai jail. By the way, just look at that photo down the bottom there. They're using sort of a photo of riot police. I think that's probably from the protests, the anti-government protests about 2 years ago in Bangkok. So interesting that they chose that particular picture. Anyway, on with the story. So a British national was mercilessly beaten and tortured by police in a Thai jail while incarcerated. Carl Gentry Evans, who's 51, was on vacation in Phuket when a local gang targeted him and drugged his drink, turning his life upside down. The unsuspecting Southampton man lost almost everything in the incident, including 4 teeth, according to images obtained by a newspaper which tells a dramatic story. That newspaper is The Sun. We'll get to their version of the story first. Now, there's a lot of details in this. I'll sort of rush through the main sentences and the main parts of the story, which I think are of interest. And at this point in my life, I'm totally effed. I'm at a loss for what to do. Broken ribs, bruised limbs, septic infections, and painfully swollen wrists are just a few symptoms of what he went through. He found himself in a 2-day furious delirium before being imprisoned as a result of reportedly having his drink tainted. His bank cards were stolen by neighbourhood criminals, also been referred to as gangs in some other media, who were involved in the scheme, who then emptied him of everything he had, about £6,800. He was intercepted by police when he arrived, who put him in a police van, drove him to jail. Carl claimed that as they were driving, 4 police officers attacked him with metal sticks while the chief cop smashed his face. Patong police have a murky past of alleged corruption, according to evaluations on Google. So the writer has gone onto Google, and I don't know, punched in Patong police beatings or something and found a few stories and come up with that particular sentence. Numerous complaints have been filed already on how officers allegedly target foreigners and demand exorbitant bribes. These matters do happen from time to time in Thailand, and of course they make headlines. Not only in Thailand, but also around the world. But of course it does make juicy headlines in tabloid media. He claimed they shackled me so tightly that the circulation in my arms was cut off. They put chains around my neck and attached it to either side of the jail. Now, I'm pretty sure the jails in Patong don't have these accoutrements. It sounds a bit more like a medieval dungeon. But certainly police have got quite a lot to answer for in this. So far there's been no denials of the story, but we'll try and dig a little bit further. They then reportedly beat him for nearly 4 hours straight. And down the bottom there, I was left there chained up, all bloodied and cut up with my feet submerged in the faeces, causing them to go rotten. So we've got a photo coming up of perhaps some evidence that he did have chains around at least his arms. The tortuous conditions carried on for 7 days. Carl was eventually given permission to call his sister in New Zealand, who made efforts to rescue him. She informed the embassy and sent him £800 to cover the cost of his release and immediate medical care. The British man was not officially charged. He also claims to have contacted the UK embassy in Thailand, but they didn't give much assistance to him. He claimed that local police had mistreated him and had robbed him of £7,000. The British embassy is alleged to have said, "We aided a British man in Thailand," which is not much of a response. There is also an honorary consulate for Britain in Phuket, so I imagine that that person would have been involved before anybody else. And of course there's also the tourist police. So lots of questions to be asked on this. Let's go to the Sun version of this particular story. And I was beaten up, tortured and had my teeth kicked out in a hellhole Thai jail. Now I can't work for 2 months, says the Brit. Pictures obtained by the Sun Online reveal a gripping tale of how the innocent Southampton man lost just about everything in the ordeal. You see there in the photo there of Carl, he's at the Phuket airport there on his way home. Does appear to have evidence of something having been around his wrists. British authorities are now investigating the allegations that he was brutally mistreated by Thai police. Carl said he'd secured accommodation at Patong before he was drugged and mugged. So plenty of questions to be asked on that one, and we look forward in coming days to some comments or even denials from Patong police as to their version of this particular story. With thanks to 5 Star Marine, this is TNT on a Thursday. Hope you're having a great day. I am heading home. I've got about a 5.5 hour drive ahead of me, but at the moment I'm sitting around the poolside on a rather misty morning here in Chumpon. And here is today's case of turning lemons into lemonade. And the TAT aims to make the whole year high season for travel in Thailand. They're going to boost domestic and inbound tourism, according to the TAT Executive Director of Advertising and Public Relations. The strategy to promote the identity of each region and encourage domestic tourists throughout the year. Now, it should be said that the idea of a high season and a low season for tourism has changed a lot in the past 10 years. It used to really be fueled by what we called the snowbirds, the Europeans coming to get away from their winter, and people from the UK and the US as well. That's really changed though, because now with particularly Russians and Chinese starting to come over the past 10 years, they've been filling up the middle of the year, which was traditionally called the low season. So there really isn't a high and low season in Thailand anymore. Having said that, of course, the break over Christmas and New Year is always a very busy time, but you could say that anywhere in the world. Let's see what some of these trends are. Medical and wellness tourism will be a trend this year as Thailand's ready in every way, including the medical infrastructure, healthy food and attractions. Let me just say right off, as far as healthy food's concerned, Thai food is delicious. I consider it one of the great cuisines of the world. Healthy, however, I don't think you could say it's particularly healthy. The second paragraph there, the 5 medical services most sought by tourists are checkups, bone and joint treatments, treatments related to heart and vascular disease, metabolic and dental treatments, and facelifts. According to the Thai Medical and Wellness Tourism Association, foreign tourists would come for 5 to 14 days, which generates a lot of revenue for the country. And the political temperature in the country can also be a factor for many who are planning a trip to Thailand. So yes, it has been relatively stable since the military coup back in 2014. Nobody's doing much arguing anymore. But yes, don't read the papers over the next 3 months. That would be my suggestion on that one. And the spokesperson said down the bottom there, if there's peace in our country with stable politics in which the government can cooperate with people in harmony, tourists will be confident to travel to Thailand. This is called social wellness, which is the duty of all Thai people to build together. So when you're next rushing down to your travel agent, say, I want to go to Thailand because of social wellness. Let's check another idea they have here, which is virtual tourism. The TAT aims to develop virtual tourism after a pilot project enabling tourists to visit participating durian farms virtually. Visitors can take a virtual tour of the farm, choose durians they want to buy. Well, firstly, when it comes to durian, there's only one way I really want to see a durian, and that is virtually. And the other thing is I thought the Thais usually choose the durian by smell, which as far as I know can't be done virtually. But as I said, after the disastrous PR for tourism over the past week, the TAT has certainly tried to turn lemon into lemonade. Next story, and 2 foreigners and a captain survive after Krabi longtail boat capsizes. 2 foreigners and a boat captain were rescued after their boat capsized in Krabi. So the second paragraph saying that a longtail boat carrying foreign tourists capsized between Hong Island and Hangnek Cape. That's in the Phang Nga Bay, which is just off Krabi. The boat captain, 43, and 2 foreign tourists were safely rescued to land. And the boat captain told the Phuket Express that there were strong waves that hit the boat before water leaked into the boat and the boat started to sink. The names of the foreign tourists involved have not been released by the rescue agencies. So good news there from the Phuket Express as far as the weather's concerned. Yesterday, because I actually do a weather report each day for Phuket, the winds were not forecast to go above 8 knots, but these longtail boats are pretty prone to any bad weather or any wave, so maybe a large boat came past. Let's go to our next story today, and my rather peculiar setup here. And some good news for people up in Pattaya and Jomtien Beach. Phase 2 of Jomtien Beach widening set to begin. And the Marine Department's accelerating the widening of Jomtien Beach to tackle coastal erosion and attract tourists. And the project was begun in 2020 with the first phase of 3.5 kilometres completed at the end of 2021. And the department's working on the second phase of a 2.6 kilometre stretch of beach. The width of the beach expected to increase to an average of 50 metres once the project is completed. And look at it, fabulous beach there now at Jomtien, which is a big change to the lifestyle of the people living there. So some money probably well spent. Just concerned about when any rough weather perhaps hits and some of that beach gets washed away again, as has happened in the past. Anyway, let's see how that goes. And that is just about it for me. I'm going to jump in the car, head down to Phuket, and I'll be back at home tonight. Everything going well. But thank you all for watching today. Thank you for your continuing support on the program. Thanks to 5 Star Marine, and we'll see you again tomorrow.